My biggest advice to anyone who wants to be an actor would be choose something else. No, I'm kidding. Hey y'all, what's going on? Welcome back. My name is Chris Bay. I'm an actor, singer, dancer who has had the privilege of working in TV, film, commercial, and musical theater for the last 7 years. Oh my gosh, 7 years? For the last 7 years here in Los Angeles, California. I've had the privilege of being on networks like Disney Channel, Netflix, Hulu, HBO, CBS, and more, sharing some of my tips and tricks that I've learned in my career to hopefully help make your journey a little easier. Here we go. Okay, acting 101, taking the first steps in starting your career, taking it from I like acting to I want to do this for a living. I have had Instagram DMs, Instagram comments, TikTok comments, people emailed me. I don't know how you found my personal email, but well done. I've had literally someone came up to me on the street the other day and they were like, I love your videos so much, they're so funny. And I was like, oh, thank you. But the question or comment that I get the most often is, I'm very new to this and I want to see if I can do it full time. How do you recommend I get started? So in this video, we're gonna cover it all. We're gonna talk about building out your package. We're gonna talk about getting headshots, getting your resume in order, getting your reel in order. We're gonna talk about representation with agents versus managers. We're gonna talk about taking classes. We're gonna talk about terms or things that no one tells you, but you're just supposed to know. We're gonna talk about mindset, which to me, mindset and a lot of internal work is 90% of this career path and being an actor, but we'll get into all that. So get your notepad out, get out your pen and paper, whatever you need, take notes on your phone, whatever you need to do, let's lock in and let's get into it. So when people come up to me and they're like, Chris, I wanna be an actor, what do I do? How do I do this professionally? Like, where do I start? I always am like, okay, well, why? Like, why now? What has led you to it right now? And sometimes it's just, I have time on my hands and I wanna see if this is something I can really do. Sometimes it's, I've gone to school for this and I'm a performer and I just really wanna know how to do it professionally and like really lock in. Sometimes people are like, my friends say I'm great and really outgoing, so I wanna see if there's anything there. It could just be anything, it could be curiosity, but I have to tell you the first and most important thing I think you need to know, you need to believe in yourself. If you do not think that this is something you can do, how do you expect us to believe it? Yeah, if you don't believe in yourself, how do you expect us to believe it? And I know you're probably like, well, I don't know, I haven't really done anything. Like, how am I supposed to believe in myself? I know, right? But we need that validation to not come from other people. You have to believe it, because if you don't believe it, we're not gonna believe it. Casting's not gonna believe it. The world's not gonna believe it. You know what I mean? If you wanna be on red carpets and doing the thing and really pushing yourself, you need to believe that you can do this. If you're not as great as you want to be, you can learn, you can get better. That's what classes are for. But you really have to have the endurance and the stamina, because this is a long career of up and down. It is not up, even when it looks like that. I'm sure you've seen celebrities and be like, oh my gosh, they booked this one thing and then everything happened for them. Girl, I'm telling you, because as soon as you finish a job as an actor, you have to find a new one. Which means you have to audition again. Your work stops. This is not like, oh, I sit at my office and I'm there Monday through Friday and I know I'm gonna clock in tomorrow. It's up and down, it's left and right, you know? And a lot of it doesn't come from, well, I'm good, so that should just be enough. There's so much that goes into it that has almost nothing to do with you. Sometimes you don't book just because someone else on the show looks just like you. This career is so unstable and so inconsistent that it really takes a lot internally to be able to keep going and to want to do this because you enjoy it so much, not just because you love the validation. The first practical step that you can take towards starting your acting career or taking that first step is building out your package. What that means is usually media, right? When you're an actor, you're a working actor, you have to sign up for a bunch of casting sites. That's how you get auditions. Then you're gonna need representation. When you get representation, they're gonna need footage, material, a package to present you to casting to say, hey, this is my client, this is why you should work with them, they're great, blah, 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 blah. So step one, I think this is the most basic thing you can do to take the first step towards being like, all right, I'm checking off my boxes, I'm gonna try this, I wanna be an actor, here we go. You need headshots. Woo! Okay, headshots. Now, I'm not gonna get too much into it because we will be here all day. I will do another video on how to prep for your headshots, how to make sure you get the most for your money, what casting is looking for, and how to make sure you have an effective headshot that will get you in the room. Now, headshots can be pricey depending on where you live. If you're in LA, New York, Atlanta, whatever city you're in, you find a headshot photographer. Look them up. Ask your friends. If you have friends who are in the business, who did you use? Go on Instagram and look up headshot photographer. Find their work, look at examples. A good headshot is the first thing casting sees. So cutting corners isn't really recommended here. If you have a friend who can take a dope headshot, all the more power to you. If it looks great, or if you're like, I don't have the money, but I want to get started. My first headshot, I took it on my iPhone in my kitchen. I will not sit here and lie to you. Okay, so you have headshots. The next two that we're going to look at are your reels, which is essentially a video of a collection of your work. It's like a virtual or a digital resume in a video form showing people like, oh, I was in this, this, and this. I've done this, this, and this, so that they can see your ability. They can see you acting before they've even called you in for an audition. Now, to have a reel and to have a resume, you need experience. How do I get experience when I don't have experience? I need someone to give me a shot, right? Well, let's talk about it, because you can write your own scenes. Yeah, you can do a self-tape reel. You can have a reel that is just self-tapes. Be careful with this. Ask around. If you have reps, ask them, ask friends. If you auditioned for the last episode of Abbott Elementary that doesn't come out for another year, do not upload that publicly. When I say use a self-tape, I mean of something that is out, it is already done, or it's something that you wrote yourself, or it's something that a friend wrote. You can use things like that to make yourself a reel. My advice is write your own stuff, or go online and find a monologue or find a scene that resonates with the type of shows you would like to be on. If you want to do sitcoms, find a funny skit. If you want to do dramas, find an emotional monologue, things like that. You can film them on your audition setup. If you have one, we'll get to that. Or you can just film them on a blank wall, something that's not too distracting. You can literally use your iPhone. I film all of my auditions on my iPhone. That is what I'm using to audition for Abbott Elementary, Survival of the Thickest. Things that I've had auditions for in the last year, they've all been through this cell phone. You don't need a big, fancy, expensive camera. Now that you have some footage, you have something, right? My reel used to be one line from a pilot that I shot, and then it was a bunch of stuff that I did in theater. It wasn't the best, but it was something. And then I did a kids web series that got me a little bit more footage. Then it's something that shows, okay, you're starting out, you're newer, but you are working. We can get you somewhere. You can book student films with that. You can book vertical shorts. You can book smaller things on Actors Access or casting networks that will get you somewhere. The more you book or the bigger things that you do, you'll add to your reel the same way you would add to your resume. Your resume, now, if you are a regular person, your acting resume is very different than like a regular resume. This is where you're gonna put things that you've done. You're gonna put theater if you've done it. You're gonna put TV if you've done it. You're gonna put commercial if you've done it. You're gonna put your special skills, anything that they can use on film. If you're in martial arts or you have stunt experience, or you can ride a bike or a dirt bike or jump rope, or you have stage combat experience, all of these things will go on your resume. You'll put your training there. I went to this acting class for years, or I just started with this one, blah, blah, blah. All of that will go on your resume. Okay, so now we have a headshot, we have a reel, we have a resume of some sort, we have something. Yes, you are going to need to sign up for casting sites. What are casting sites? I got you. So the biggest and most important one, in my opinion, is Actors Access. That is where the biggest things are going to be casting. You might not see big things because those are going to go, they're not putting out open calls for huge TV shows that people are watching on TV. They're not opening that up to the general public. That's going to go to an agent. That's why having representation at some point will help you. But you will see things on there that you can audition for. You will see short films, you'll see student films, you'll see commercials, you'll see feature films, you'll see independent films. All of those you can self-submit to. So you're gonna go to actorsaccess.com, you're gonna sign up, you're gonna make a profile. The most important thing about signing up for actorsaccess.com is that you need to have at least one of everything filled out, because then your submission is going to the top of that pile. If you have a headshot but you have no reel, yours is not going to be seen before people who have a reel, a headshot, a resume, all of that stuff filled out. There's a size card on there. Fill out your sizes. All of this information. They're going to have a bunch of tools on there. It is literally my favorite website. It's easy to use to self-submit. Just sign up. I think if you don't have like the annual membership, you pay like $2 per submission. If you're newer, sure, I recommend doing this. But if you're like, I'm going to be using this and I want to do this, pay for the little annual membership and really make it worth your while. Submit. The next site you can sign up for is casting networks. This is more commercial, more student film, more short film. I booked a movie musical on there this year that I filmed and rapped with Drew Seeley from High School Musical. That was where I got this audition. I've gotten a Delta Airlines ad that I did, an Oscar Mayer Wiener commercial that I did way back in 2021. All came through casting networks, and they were all self-submitted. I didn't have any reps when I got these jobs. So that's why people were like, I can't book anything. I don't have an agent. Not true. Not true. Love you. Not true. I've booked many things on Actors Access through self-submitting. I've booked many things that were able to be stepping stones, so I was able to get my experience up. You know what I mean? So apply, self-submit. It's gonna take time. When I first moved to LA, what I would do every night is I would go home from my day, I'd be like, okay, long day, whatever. Open my laptop and go through Actors Access. There's a little thing, you would hit breakdowns fit for me. You'll sort all of the auditions to make sure that they fit things that you are. You're like, okay, I can play 16 to, I don't know, 23, I'm 5'8", I'm a black man, blah, blah, blah. I'm looking for feature films, commercials, independent films, whatever. Select all those things, search, go through, submit, send it out, boom. You'll wait and you'll wait and you'll wait. And sometimes you'll get that little ping and be like, I got an audition, oh my gosh. Okay, you know, there you go. We have Actors Access, we have casting networks. Casting Frontier is a big one. It's not as popular, it's a little difficult in my opinion to navigate, but that's another one. I think if you're just starting out, just stick to Actors Access and casting networks. There's also Backstage. I booked a Netflix commercial through Backstage a few years ago without an agent. But I think Backstage is changing. For me, it feels like a lot of UGC content creator stuff, which if that's what you're looking for, dope, head to Backstage. But I think prioritize Actors Access and casting networks for right now. There are other ones like Casting Frontier, casting.com that will help you, even playbill.com. But I think just focus on Actors Access and casting networks for a little bit and see where you get, yeah? So now we have headshots, we have our resumes, we have our reels, we've signed up for some casting sites. Okay, ping, we get a notification. We have an audition, congratulations. You have to self-tape. What is a self-tape? It is an audition that you are taping yourself. You're probably doing it at home, like me, on my iPhone. I have my lighting, you know. This means that you need an audition setup. Don't let this freak you out. Do not see dollar signs as soon as I say that. I don't want to see the dollar signs pop up and you're already panicking. It really doesn't have to be anything crazy. This is a backdrop that I got off of Amazon. The link is in my Instagram bio. They come in so many different colors. The blue one is like the most popular, it's the standard, but I have like a green one and a brown one that I like to use sometimes to switch it up. So for an audition setup, the basics that you need are some sort of lighting. They need to be able to see you, right? You can use regular lighting in your place. Just make sure that you're not backlit. Make sure that there's no light coming from behind you. Make sure we can clearly see your face, clearly see who you are. Yes? And then you need a phone, a camera, something to record on. At the very least, a plain background, if it's not a backdrop, is okay. I used to have a wall in my room that was just a white wall. I used to record on that when I first started. I had a tiny little ring light and a tiny tripod. That's what I recorded on. As you elevate, you can move to a camera, you can move to, you know, different lighting panels. You can even use microphones and like sound equipment. But that's when you've like really gotten to a place where you're like, all right, I'm about to like, we're doing it. I didn't get a backdrop until halfway through my acting career where I was like, oh, okay, let me spruce it up a little bit. But as long as you have a non-distracting background, you have a camera of some sort, a phone, and you have lighting where I can see you. I've done auditions in hotel rooms. I've done auditions in the car. I've done auditions in parking garages when I've just been on the go and not been home to have my whole setup, and I have still booked. So you make do with what you can. So a slate. A slate is one of the first things that an audition will ask you for. This is usually just, hi, my name is Chris Bay. I'm 5'8", based out of Los Angeles, California. You'll do a full body shot, which is just you showing a shot of your full body, what you look like. You'll turn around. That usually goes separate from your audition or in the beginning of your audition. An audition will usually come with slate instructions if they have questions they need to have answered, like I'm willing to shave, or I have a California driver's license, or I'm available for all the dates that you're shooting. These are just questions that normally casting will need to know from everyone to know, can we book you? Are you available? Are you able to shave if we need you to? Little things like that. And then you'll do your sides. Your sides are your lines. It's your scenes that they give you. They'll usually say, do this scene, or this page to this page, whatever it may be. You'll record that, boom, 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 and you'll upload that to the casting site and you'll submit it by the deadline and you have completed your first self-tape. Beautiful, right? When you're submitting your audition, there's usually a note section. I usually say use it if it'll help you. If you're just gonna ramble, don't use it because they're not about to read a paragraph on why you think you deserve the part. No one has time for that. But if you're able to highlight things like, I have comedic experience or this, or I completed a Groundlings improv course, basic improv 101, whatever it may be, or if you're like, oh, I have experience in tractor driving because this character's a farmer, anything like that that will help you, sure, throw that in there. I think use it if it's gonna help you, but don't write why you think you deserve the part or thank them for, oh, I'm so thankful for this audition. Thank you so much for, no one has time to read that. Okay, so now we're on our casting sites. We have our materials. We're self-submitting. we're doing it. We're feeling great. You know, maybe you've joined a few acting classes. Again, I would say do your research. If you're looking for classes to join, ask other friends if they're in the industry. You can ask me. There's classes that are great. There are some classes, especially if you live in New York City or LA. Just do your research. Some of them might be a mess. They're all going to teach you different things. Find the right one that works for you. You can audit classes. If you're not in LA or New York, there are online classes you can take. Just do your research and, you know, put in the work and put in the training so that you don't have to feel crazy going into an audition and feel like an imposter and feel like you have to fool them into picking you, and know that you have sharpened your skill set enough to actually be like, no, I know what I'm doing. I've learned some things, you know. Also, acting classes are a great way to see if this is something that you do want to do long term. In class, if you're like, all right, I feel it, I did eat that up, or like this wasn't my best week, that's okay. But if you're in an acting class and you're like, I hate this, I just want to be famous, save it. Save yourself the time and the money, pick something else, be famous some other way. But I think acting classes are a great way to see how you feel about the actual craft and find out what works for you. And it's a great way to just stay audition ready. When auditions are not coming in, but you still want to sharpen, you know, your tools and still want to flex your muscle, class is a great way to do that. So audit classes and find out which ones work best for you. Next, once you feel like the ball is really rolling and you're like, all right, I'm ready to take the next steps in my career, seeking representation. Seeking representation can be very difficult because a lot of the bigger agencies are only going to sign people through referrals, which means someone has to go, oh, I have this great actor or this great actress that you should know and they'd be great on your roster, which means somewhere along the way you made a splash big enough for someone to recognize and recommend you to a bigger agency, or you've had success in a different field like a content creator or commercial work or something like that, and then you were referred to this agency. But there are ways to do it. There are agencies that are smaller, and I think if you're starting out, you want a smaller agency. You don't want to be signing to the biggest, best agency because one, it's really hard to submit to them. They're probably not going to see your work. It's hard to get a referral. Two, you don't want to be with a huge agency when you are smaller because you're just starting out. They're not going to look at my resume and be like, him. You know what I mean? So you want to be with a smaller agency who can give you attention and time and help you grow. So you can usually find those agencies, find their websites, and you can submit on their website. A lot of the smaller agencies will have a contact or a submit portal where you can just fill out your information, headshot, resume, reels, actors access profile link. There you go. And they'll hit you up and be like, hey, we'd like to set up a meeting. And then you decide, do I want to work with them? Okay, sure. There's also a feature on Actors Access, the site that we were talking about earlier, where if you sign up for Actors Access, there is something called Talent Link. It is something where you can select all of your materials on your profiles, select which city you live in or you're closest to, if you're looking for a manager, if you're looking for an agent, if you're looking for representation in commercial, TV, film, which is also known as theatrical. Theatrical is not theater. If you see theatrical, that means TV film. I know it's weird, it's just the way it is. So there's commercial representation, there's theatrical representation, which is TV film, there's print representation, which is like modeling, and then there's voiceover work, and then there's also theater or musical theater. All of these are ways that you can get an agent or manager that focuses on that field. So on Talent Link, you fill this all out, you pick what you need, you send it out. I think it goes live, and I think it blasts all your information out to agents and managers that are looking for like a 2-week period. They might hit you up and email you back and be like, we would love to sign you. Again, you set up those meetings, see if it's a good fit, boom, you have representation. I go way more in depth about finding representation and finding an agent and a manager in my other video called Rep Ready. So check that out if that is something where you're like, all right, I'm there in my career, I'm ready to take that step. Check that out when the time is right. Okay, so now when it comes to wanting to be an actor, there are different ways that you can do this. Working actors, most of the working actors in the industry are not Jacob Elordi. They're not the Zendayas. They're not the Tom Hollands, right? Those are like household names. Those are huge stars. The working actor is someone who is on set a few different times a week, and they did a co-star here, they did a commercial here, they were a guest star on this show, and they're bouncing around, but you might not know their name, but you probably have seen them in things, or they just have smaller roles, or they're just in independent films or short films or commercials that, you know, you don't recognize their face, but those are working actors. This was the first year that I was a working actor in the sense of I was able to pay my bills with just acting alone, which also leads me into you're still an actor whether you're booking or not, which is a big thing where I say a lot of this is up here and a lot of this is internal and mental and emotional. You have to believe it. Yeah, we talked about that earlier. You have to believe that you are an actor. You're not pretending to be one. If you love to act, you have the skill, and you really, really are just like, I don't know how to start, you're still an actor whether you're on a set or not. So all of that to say, whether you are on a set 12 times a week or you have never touched one in your life, you are still an actor whether you've booked or not. So don't even let that creep into your mind and be like, I'm not an actor, I've never done anything. Enough, stop it. Get into a class, train, write, create, act, self-submit. Eventually, you'll get to where you need to be. Lay a brick a day. Do not try to build that house overnight. This takes time. Take a step forward every day, and before you know it, you'll be a lot further than you thought you were, and you'll be doing things that younger you would be so surprised that you're even talking about, let alone doing. Even watching this video right now and being like, all right, I want to pursue acting, I want to get into it, is huge. That's a huge first step. That's a big first step. So lock in. A small step is still a step. Whether it's a leap or you took a tiny baby step forward, you're still moving forward. So there are different ways that you can approach this. You can either aim for, I want red carpet success, I want to be a household name, I really want to do the big thing, I want to lock in and be huge. Or you can be like, I want to do commercials here and there. You know, I don't want to be a theatrical actor, I want to be a commercial actor, and I want to make my money doing McDonald's ads or doing, you know, Progressive. I want to be Flo from Progressive. Those are all ways that you can also be an actor, and they're all respected and they all pay the bills. Sometimes commercials pay a lot more than being on a TV show for the day, you know? So figure out what way you want to show up as an actor and what type of actor you'd like to be as well. So that brings us into the difference between theatrical versus commercial. Theatrical, like I said, is TV film. Commercial is commercial. It's online ads. It's commercial ads on TV. It's Super Bowl ads. Cha-ching, cha-ching. This also leads us into union versus non-union. You've probably heard of SAG-AFTRA. That is the actors union. So if you are a union actor, it means that you've booked enough things or you've made enough money where you are forced to join the union. I can go into all of this in another video as well, but non-union is probably where you are. You are probably a non-union actor who's just getting started. When you fill out your Actors Access account or your casting networks, it's gonna ask, are you union? Are you SAG? You are non-union if you're just starting out. If you're SAG, you would know because you paid a lot of money to be SAG. Now, when it comes to jobs, to non-union jobs, they usually pay less. There's usually less protection for you in the job space. When you are a union actor, you're usually getting a bare minimum. There's a standard union rate. There are standard protections, standard procedures that union projects have to follow. Now let's talk a little bit about like terms or things that people might not know that you probably hear all the time if you're watching my videos or you follow different actors, but you're like, what? Like, for example, what is a co-star? A co-star role versus a guest star role versus a reoccurring role versus a series reg, right? These are all usually for TV shows. If you're a co-star, it usually means you have one line. You're just aiding the story along. The episode is probably not about you. You might play barista number one who is just handing someone their coffee in this TV show. A guest star is usually a step above. Instead of one or two lines, you usually have one or two scenes and you're probably only in that episode. Or you're a reoccurring guest star, which means you're not on the show all the time, but you're in this episode and maybe another episode down the line. A series reg is someone who is, you probably guessed it, a regular character in this series. So it's like co-star, guest star, reoccurring guest star, series reg, you know, you take the steps up. But if you ever see these things listed on a casting call, that's what they mean. If you ever see the term avail versus pin, if someone's like, oh my gosh, I was put on avail, that means that usually a commercial is asking for their availability because it's usually between you or one or two other people and they're just working out some logistics. The client has to make a decision. Casting is very interested. Being put on avail is a very great thing. The same with being pinned. Being pinned or put on avail is a very big win. It means that you are this close to the job being yours. Some people get very upset because they're like, well, I was pinned, but I didn't get it. You acting like you didn't get anything from it. That is such a huge step. That means that of thousands and thousands of submissions, they narrowed it down to you or one other person and you're upset? No, being pinned is such a big win. So if you are ever on avail or you are pinned, please, again, how we talked about it's all up here, keep that mindset to know that that is a huge win. If you are on avail, that's usually for commercials. If you are pinned, that's usually for like TV film. If you're pinned, usually it's, hey, we want you, we're just working out some things, but it might be yours. So this is filming next week, so don't book anything or make sure your schedule is open and available. We're checking your availability. You're good to go, right? And then you'll say, yes, I'm fully available, or, ooh, I'm available, but not on this day. I'm available for the other shoot dates. And they work it out with casting, and then they're like, all right, it's great, we'll work with you. And then they send an offer. So pinned or avail is usually the step right before you get that final offer. Sometimes I have people say like, all right, I auditioned for some things, but I don't ever hear back, or I submitted for some things, but I never heard anything. It's just part of the process. It's just how this goes, right? If casting was to write back to everyone who submitted or everyone who auditioned, imagine how much work that would be. If you are auditioning for the same people over and over again, that is a huge win because that means they're interested. That means that they see something in you that they are willing to keep pursuing. They're just trying to figure out where to put you in this. Yeah, but it means that casting is thinking of you often. They're calling you in because they like you. It's just about finding that right role where casting, the client, the show, the producers, they all agree and they're like, oh, this is the right fit for him. Or, oh, we've seen him for a few things. He's not right for this, but I do have something else that's casting. All right, let's bring him in for that. That happens so many times with actors. That happened with me earlier this year. I went in for a movie role. I submitted. I got called back. So sent in my self-tape, got called back again. Then they asked me to read for a different character. Submitted that self-tape, got called back. Then they asked me to submit for a different character and then come to an in-person audition. Went, I had to sing, I had to dance, tried it on, different characters. When I finally got an offer from this movie, it was for a character that I didn't even audition for. It was for a new character that they actually wrote into this project. So another piece of advice I would say if you're new to the acting thing or if you have some experience but you're still getting started and wondering how to elevate, when you get the opportunity to audition for something, understand that casting, you have their attention. You who had no idea what they were doing in this industry or had no idea where to start or was young and just dreamed of being on TV or film, you have a team. Casting directors are looking at you and they are interested for however long that audition is happening. Use it. If you don't understand the script and you're like, I don't know what to do, don't just throw it away and be like, well, I didn't understand the part, so I don't know. I just put something on tape and it is what it is. They're going to get what they get. I'd rather you do something completely wrong and completely different or completely out of left field that's going to showcase your skills and your talent, because casting might go, oh, you're not right for this, but ooh, you made me laugh, or ooh, that was really good. It's not right for this project, but it might be right down the line. Book the room before you book the job. If you can get everyone to like you, it could lead to so many more things down the line. If you can get them to all go, wow, they're very good. They're not right for this project, but I'm going to keep your information because I really like what I saw. That will help you so much longer than, yeah, sure, they're good, give them the co-star. You know what I mean? So if you don't know what to do in an audition, just do something, just play to your strengths and just submit a good audition. It doesn't have to be right. It doesn't have to be perfect. You're not going to figure out what they're looking for from the audition information that they sent you. I'm telling you right now, the instructions are not going to be, we want exactly this and this is how we want you to play it. You're going to have to interpret those lines on that page in a way that works for you and submit your tape. And if it goes well, great. So now that we've talked about all of that, the biggest advice that I would say in terms of like the mental game of making this decision to pursue this career is you have to understand that it's going to take a while. There's going to be goals that you write down. There's going to be things on your vision board that might be there for a few years. That's okay as long as you keep pushing towards them. You are not going to sit here and write on your vision board and be like, I want to book a series regular tomorrow. And then if you don't get it, you're mad. That doesn't make sense. You know what I mean? You can't be like, I need to book something huge in the next 6 months, or if not, I'm just done because I'm going to sit here and manifest and I didn't manifest hard enough, so it didn't happen for me. There's so many other things at play. You have to be down for the long game. And this phrase, sometimes it drives me crazy, but it is so true that work begets work. So be out there. Do anything you can to be in the scene. Be in an acting class, submit to your friend's short film, write your own stuff, upload things on social media that you're proud of. Just put out lines so that you can catch something and reel it in. No casting director is going to, out of the blue, knock on your door and say, hey, I don't know who you are, but I know that I need you in my next project. No, they have to be able to find you. You have to be out there. There have to be balls in motion so that things are happening. And the work that you're putting out and little things that you're doing could lead to such bigger things down the line. I danced at Disneyland as a parade dancer. That led to me doing a musical where I met someone who wrote a pilot. I did that pilot. That led to me finding my agent. And the first audition she got me was for a Marvel streaming series. So you know what I mean? It's just literally just get up and out of the house and do things, and you have no idea what opportunity is going to come from that one thing that you said yes to. It is a very long journey. It's hard to stay driven and motivated the whole time. So surround yourself with great people. Remember why you're doing this. Be clear in your manifesting. Be clear in your vision boards or your goals or where you want to go. Be clear in all of that and just take a step a day, little things when it comes to planning new headshots, researching classes, auditing a class. Small steps are still steps forward. So just really lock in, know where you want to go, and don't be discouraged when you don't get something immediately, because you have to look at the bigger picture. You have to have such a wide scope on this if you want longevity without burnout, because it's so easy to do so many self-tapes, and it's so easy to be able to be like, oh, I have not heard back from any reps. I can't get anyone's attention. I'm this close to being done. If that's true and you're done, that's okay too. If you really are like, I tried it, it's not for me, that's perfectly okay. But you cannot want it and then just be mad the whole time and expect it to just kind of happen. You have to really know that, like, all right, I'm going to do this and I'm putting in the work wherever I can, and small steps. Another thing to consider is if you are not based in LA or you're not based in New York or Atlanta. People always say, can I still be an actor if I don't live in these cities? Yes, but I think it's a lot harder, because most things that are casting are going to ask you to be what's known as a local hire to LA, a local hire to New York, a local hire to Atlanta. That just means that if I call you in 3 days and I say, hey, we booked you, are you ready? You're not like, yeah, but you need to fly me out and put me up in a hotel room. They're not going to do that. That's why they're looking for a local hire. They want someone who's ready to go. They don't have to pay to house them. It's a one-day shoot. They're not going to fly you out and pay for your hotel. I mean, they might, but chances are that's not happening. So eventually you will need to be local to a major city. Even Canada, Vancouver is huge. I'm from New Jersey. I used to audition in New York, and I had to come out to LA because I would not have booked half the things that I've booked if I was still in New Jersey. It just wouldn't have happened. Now, before we wrap this up, let's just review, right? We have built out our package. We have our headshots, we have our resumes, we have our reels, whether that's from things that you've booked or you just put together a collection of things you wrote, or it's just a collection of auditions. Put something on film so that casting has something to look at, or that an agent has something to look at when they are wondering if they're going to work with you. They cannot sign you if they have nothing to see. They cannot book you or trust that you will just show up and know how to do the job if they have nothing to go off of. So headshots, build out that reel, build out that resume, sign up for your casting sites. We have Actors Access and Casting Networks. Those are the two main ones that I would say to sign up for. Make sure you fill everything out in time. Again, you don't have to do all this overnight. You're gonna have to build some of these credits and check some of those boxes over time. Those are the two main sites that I would sign up for. Once you have those going, you're self-submitting, you're booking smaller jobs, bigger jobs, whatever it may be. You're adding those things to your reels. You're adding those things to your resumes. Now you're like, all right, I want to look at representation. I think I'm ready for an agent. Start submitting where you can. If you have friends, ask them for referrals if it's appropriate. Again, I go into all of this in my rep videos about finding your reps and how to do all these things. You can use Talent Link on Actors Access. There's many different ways that you can go about this, but again, it takes time and it takes experience. You've done all this, you're in classes, audit a few classes, find acting classes that work for you. Being in a class is so great because there's so many creative people that will also make things and be like, oh, I wrote this thing, I want you to be in it. Or, oh, let's write something together. Or, oh, I have this audition coming up, I think you should go. Or, oh, my agent's looking for people, I think you'd be great with them. Acting classes are a great way to just be involved in the scene and be around other working actors. If you're not local to the major cities and there's not really acting classes in your area, do some research, look for online classes. It's a great way to train as well. Also, if you're a person who you've done all these things, say you have reps and you're like, I am doing stuff, I'm just not at the place I want to be, you can also message me. I have one-on-one consultations that you can also select through this site where we can set up time to meet and you can explain to me where you're at and what you're looking to get more out of. It might be a more specific issue that's not covered in this. Maybe your reps are not the right fit for you. Maybe they're not getting you the things that you need. So if you need to, message me, set up a consultation, and we can chat about that as well. Now that you've gotten your self-tapes and you're doing auditions, you're gonna need something called a reader as well. A reader is someone who's reading the other lines in the scene off camera. So if you live with someone, great, ask your roommate. If your roommate is not about that life, they're making the scene all about them, or your family member, whoever you ask, they're not with it and it's a mess. There's a site called We Audition where you can actually set up time with virtual readers who do this for a living. They can read with you. You do it all virtually. It's great. It's perfectly acceptable to casting, but a reader is something that is usually necessary unless you're doing a monologue. All right, so I've crossed everything off my notes. I think that's everything. Congratulations again on taking those first steps towards building out your acting career. That is such a huge step to take. I hope this video helped. If it did, please leave a review and rate the video. If you rate the video, I will send you a discount code for your next video. I got you. But again, take care of yourself, be kind to yourself, don't abuse yourself. This is a long game. Trust in yourself, believe in yourself. You got this. It's your dream. Enjoy it. Bye.